So, after your experience of having an absent father or a father who just doesn't care about you, I know that you're guarding your heart very closely. I know that you still have walls built up around you, but that is going to prevent you from having the relationship that God wants you to have. And I'm not talking about romantic relationships. I'm also talking about platonic relationships or relationships with your kids, with your husband, with other family members. If you're guarding your heart very closely, then you won't be able to experience true love. So today I just want to talk about how it is that you can open up yourself to receive love from others. If you're struggling with a displays of affection, if you're struggling with words of affection, if you're struggling with closeness and intimacy, God wants you to know that you can open up yourself to be loved, that you are worthy of being loved. It's hard if you've experienced not having your father in your life. It's very hard because your father is supposed to love you and cherish you and make you feel like daddy's little girl. He should have made you feel like a princess, the princess that you are. But you know what? I love God's words when he said, I am a father to the fatherless, and he is a good father. He's a wonderful father. He's the best father that you could ever have. And I know a lot of women have their self-worth tied up in their earthly father because they don't think highly of themselves because their father didn't love them. And that's not where your self-worth is. As a matter of fact, your father was only supposed to help you to discover your self-worth because you were created in the image of God, right? So, like, automatically, you are worth so much more than you could ever think. There is no money, no amount of money in this world that could equate to your value. And I want you to think about that and sit with that, because the walls that you have up, you're the only person inside of that wall. And God did not create us to live alone. He didn't, because if he did, then he wouldn't want to be in relationship with us, right? And so we have to move forward, and you have to take those steps to break down those walls slowly. I'm not saying to jump out there and start giving your heart to everybody, but think about your child. For example, if you're a mother, are you withholding parts of yourself that your child should be receiving? And if you are, will that child continue that behavior to the next generation, to their kids? And then if they don't break the cycle, then it's going to be continued to their kids. And so you have a chance now to break that cycle. You know, the devil does not like families. He hates families. So he loves disconnection. He is happy that there are families that are disconnected, that there are mothers that are disconnected from their daughters, that there are wives who are disconnected from their husbands. Because the family is a representation of God. And he hates God, so he hates families. So don't give Satan what he wants. Don't give him what he wants. You can be different. You can change. And all starts by dedicating yourself to God. Dedicating your mind to God. The walls that you have up are as a result of a negative belief that you're holding on to. Negative belief about yourself, negative belief about others and a negative belief about your childhood. Now, don't get me wrong. I know that your childhood, or I can understand that your childhood may not have been the best. But one thing that I've realized is that the more I kept reciting the negative parts of my childhood, was the more feeling of rejection, the more the feeling of shame, the more the feeling of low self-worth kept finding roots in me. And subconsciously, I would live those feelings every day because that was my narrative of my childhood. But once I switched that narrative to something more positive, it could be a positive experience that you've had. It could be something that you're grateful for in your childhood. But once I switched my focus to my mother, and I'm like, my mother worked so hard to get me to the point where I'm at now. If it wasn't for her and God, of course, if it wasn't for her hard work, if it wasn't for her persevering in the face of great challenges, because trust me, we had challenges, but if it wasn't for her just persevering and pushing, I would not be sitting here before you today. And so that narrative just gives me power. It just helps me to feel loved by the fact that my mother did not leave me alone. She did not abandon me. And you can change your narrative too, because it also helps you to think better about yourself. Honestly, the walls that you have up, one could be because of low self-worth, because you don't feel like you deserve love. And those walls are preventing you from being loved. Imagine that. Those walls are preventing you from being loved by the people around you who want to love you, who want to show you that you are loved. Right? And two, you could have those walls up because you don't want to be hurt again. And girl, I get that. I understand that. I understand not wanting to be hurt again. However, there are things that you need to experience in this life, that God calls you to experience in this life, right? So now is the time to start breaking down those walls. Slowly but surely, there must be one person in your circle that you can let into your space, that you can be vulnerable with and feel safe. Because what will help you to start healing from your past is bonding, is connection, is the very thing that you're withholding from yourself. So the thing that will cause you to heal, and the enemy knows that. That's why he uses your past experiences. That's why he brings up certain thoughts into your mind. And if you keep dwelling on those thoughts, then it's going to prevent you from bonding with others. I want you to think about, so what can you do today? Look, I know it's scary, but guess what? Your brain is going to tell you it's scary because you're not used to certain things. You're not used to being hugged or being kissed on the cheek or somebody saying, how was your day? How are you feeling? You might not be used to that because in childhood, you may have had to just suppress your feelings because the people around you didn't care. You may have had to hide a part of you because it annoyed somebody else while you were growing up. But girl, God is calling you to bring back that part of you. He's calling you to bring back that part of you, especially if he's calling you to walk in your purpose. If he's calling you to do something for him. Can you imagine the power if you just open up yourself to becoming the woman that God knows that you can be, the woman that God has created you to be. Can you imagine how He can work through you? Can you imagine if you're in business right now and it's going well? Can you just imagine how much better it can be if you open up yourself to being loved? Look, when you are loved, it does something to your brain. It does something to your brain. It gives you dopamine, and you don't need, if you do this, you would not need to eat to soothe yourself, or watch TV to soothe yourself, or go shopping, or do any of the things that you use to soothe yourself or to distract yourself. If you are in close relationship with somebody where you've broken down your walls, you've let down your guard, just imagine how freeing that would be for you. And so I want you to think about that today. You don't even have to take a step today. I want you to just imagine how your life would be different if you were able to accept love, if you were able to receive love from the persons around you who are trying to love you. Just imagine how your life would change, how you would just be so much happier being loved by those around you, by people that you love, that you've been holding yourself back from. All right, just imagine, people talk about visualizing. Just take time to visualize yourself not having any issues with being hugged, with holding hands, with having those deep conversations. And I know some persons will say, you know what, I can stay by myself, but that is just fair talking. Honestly, that's fair. And that is because, again, of how you were raised. Girl, your past is behind you, and God wants you to leave your past in the past. He wants you to start thriving and not surviving, because guess what? When you have those walls up because of your past, you're in survival mode. You're not in thrive mode. And God did not create you just to survive. He created you to thrive. So my sister, my friend, I want you to think about that today. Dedicate your mind to God and just ask Him. He knows. He knows the negative thoughts that you have in your mind about yourself, about others, even about Him, about receiving affection. He knows what's there. You might not know everything that's in your subconscious mind, but trust me, girl, He knows. And He's the right person to change it into something more positive, into something more holy, something that will help you to be able to receive love. All right, dedicate your mind to Him every morning and ask Him, say, Lord, help me to see myself the way that you see me. Because that's the only way you're going to be able to receive love and to give love. To give love in the way that He wants you to. And to receive love in the way that He wants you to. All right. And when you can visualize that, when you can think about your past in a different way, in a more positive way, and I don't know what you've been through, but girl, if you're here, then you have a testimony, you have a story that you made it. And that in and of itself is something amazing. You did not give up, maybe because somebody else helped you along the way, but for sure, you know that God helped you along the way. So my prayer for you is that you will just see that you are loved beyond measure by God. Nobody can love you like God, but there is at least one person around you that just wants to love you so much, that just wants you to know that you are special and that you are loved. So I hope you can receive this today. I hope you can start by taking one stone off of that wall and just peeking your head out at the person that's waiting on you. It might be God. God might be outside that wall waiting on you so that he can love on you. It might be your daughter. It might be your husband. It might be a close friend. Doesn't matter who it is. They're just waiting to love you. All right. My name is Lisa, and my goal for this channel is just to help you as a woman with an absent father to thrive. I want you to thrive. I want you to know that you are worth more than all the money combined in this world. All right. I'll see you in my next video.